More than that, more than that.
Welcome to More Than a Dad Podcast. I'm your host, Dre Moore. I got my guy, Lou Mobley, here with me.
What's good?
What's up, y'all? We want to shout out Beaufort, Georgia. We see y'all in the downloads. We appreciate the support. It's been amazing.
Who we got here, man?
Listen, today we got a real special guest. Yo.
I got you.
Yeah, we got a real special guest here with us today. A10 Player of the Year at Temple, State Champion, Norristown High, father, mentor, coach, entrepreneur, Khalif Wyatt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all for having me, man. Appreciate y'all for having me.
We appreciate you for coming.
We got a fast five for you, man. Coming right at you.
Mm-hmm.
What's your most memorable moment in basketball?
My most memorable moment in basketball would have to be playing versus Duke. I grew up a Duke fan, so I got a chance to play them a couple times during my college career. But we actually beat them my junior year at the Wells Fargo Center. So growing up a Duke fan and beating them would probably be at the top.
In terms of your game, who do you think you got your style most from?
I'm a mix of a couple guys. It's a guy from my neighborhood. His name is Harry Allen. He had a great feel for the game. Like, he passed the ball great. Just had a great feel for the game, old head game. And then Paul Pierce, somebody who I watched a lot. Just good pace and can score the ball. And then my last, it might sound funny because he plays different, but Allen Iverson, like, he had a chip and he just was aggressive getting to the rack and getting to the foul line. And I definitely took a lot from a lot of different people's games.
You be having these athletes, right, man?
Right.
You mentioned Duke, but if it wasn't Temple, what would have been another dream school to play for?
Dream school? Don't say Duke.
You're giving them too much love already.
Right. Dream school, I would say UCLA, just because you're in LA. It's a big stage, and it's just a lot going on around the program.
Right.
And if you go and be the man at UCLA, then the world is yours.
Right. As far as basketball, like, who's been like your toughest matchup personally in your career?
Toughest matchup. So I always struggle with like smaller guards. I'm like 6'4", so these little 5'9", 5'10", bite at your ankle type guards. I would have to say my toughest matchup. I'm gonna have to say either Chaz Williams. He went to UMass. He was a small guard, super tough, and I used to just hate playing against him because he was small and just kept going. And then as a pro, I had a tough matchup versus Jeremy Pargo. He was super tough, super strong, super physical. Just a tough matchup for me when I was 23, 24 years old.
True that.
Last one of the Fast Five, man. AI or Kobe?
What are we talking about? Favorite. Allen Iverson, my favorite basketball player of all time.
Sure. You kind of walked us into that in the beginning.
That's what I'm saying. We got these guys saying, right. This is More Than a Dad. We always ask, how's dad life?
Dad life is good, man. Dad life is good. My daughter she just turned 6 months on September 23rd. So I get to see her every day.
Right.
Get to be around her, see all her developments, see her smile, see her teeth coming in. So it's really beautiful, man, honestly.
That's what's up. Well, let's jump into a little bit like of your childhood. So, like, as a youth, like, what do you think, like, what role coaches like played in your life as far as like mentoring and stuff like that?
A huge role. Starting off, I had a coach named Mike Curlew, guy from Norristown, who just took us all around the tri-state to play basketball. He didn't ask for any money. He just asked us to be at a pickup point,
right.
And if you're there, you're gonna get in the truck and you're gonna go play. So that was just thinking back on that. Like, you didn't have to do that. So people like him, high school coaches, Julius Mack, Coach Dunphy. Like these guys play father figures for a lot of people, not just me. So that's something that me now getting into coaching, I'm looking forward to playing that role for other people.
I want to talk a little bit about AAU basketball. Right, I feel like it's getting like a little bit of a bad name, a little bit, but just tell me what you think some of the pros and cons of playing AAU.
So AAU, gift and the curse. It's great for exposure. It's great for being able to measure yourself up against other players from all around the world.
Right.
It's great for, I said exposure, but like college coaches seeing you and stuff like that. I would say the negatives would have to be that, well, it's certain programs. I mean, the negatives I see with a lot of programs that they don't focus on player development, like actually learning how to play and teaching the game. Some programs they just send you out there to play, and it's not too much structure, and that can hurt you in the long run.
Right.
But overall, I think AAU is a great thing. It's great for exposure. It's great for exposure for coaches. A whole lot of stuff around the game. It's just helping. I think it's helping more than it's hurting for sure.
Right. You think it had a lot of pressure on like younger kids, or no?
It can, especially with social media.
Right.
Everybody wants to post their highlight, or everybody wants to have a great game, or everybody's measuring themselves up to this kid who has 1 million followers who just posts his highlights. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that kids are dealing with now that I didn't deal with when I was playing AAU. So I can just imagine that it's some added pressure there.
Talk to me a little bit about like the physical part of it, right? Nobody mentions like it almost become like year-round basketball. Like, for example, when I was growing up, like football was fall, guys might do basketball in the winter, do outdoor track or something, baseball in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
You had a lot of like tri-sport athletes.
Mm-hmm.
But if basketball is going to be pretty much your main thing and you're going year-round, because like AAU circuits are crazy in the summertime. Like, do you feel like that wear and tear on a young kid's body is taking miles off them?
I personally don't think so. I think if your dream is to be a professional basketball player, it should be a year-round commitment. Not as far as you playing games all year round, but you should definitely be, training and eating right and taking care of yourself as if you want to pursue a professional career. So as far as wear and tear, just feel like it's balance, maintenance. Like kids, that's what I'm saying. It's about the program. It's about the AAU program. Are they teaching recovery? Are they teaching strength and conditioning, injury prevention, things like that? So it's just about balance.
True that. Do you have like can you speak to like what your recruiting process was like to go to college, and like do you have any advice like for parents, like if they had a kid that was going through that?
Right. So my recruitment process, I was unrecruited as a freshman, unrecruited as a sophomore. As a junior, I ended up starting varsity, and my team ended up being really good. We were undefeated. We were 24-0 in the regular season. We only lost 2 games that whole season. It was in the district championship to Chester and then the state championship to Chester. So even throughout that whole process, I don't think I was getting letters and stuff like that, but nobody offered me a scholarship. After the 32-2 we were as a junior, and I was the leading scorer. But I was definitely on some radars. But going into that summer, AAU, I played with Team Final. That was my first summer playing with them, Nike team, Nike circuit. So I got a chance to play with like Deion Waiters, Lamar Patterson, a lot of different guys. So I got the exposure that I was talking about. And I ended up picking up probably 10, 11 scholarship offers just that first month, after the season, March, May area. But anyway, my college recruitment was still light. Like it was schools like LaSalle. Delaware was my first offer. LaSalle, Temple didn't come until like July, August after AAU was over. But one of the reasons why I chose Temple was they were super honest with me. They had told me that they, we're really offering you a scholarship because Dalton Pepper didn't sign here, or Lamar Patterson didn't sign here. We missed out on all these guys, and now we're at you. That was pretty much the conversation, and it was honest, and I was looking past that. If I was in my ego at that
Right.
time, I would have been like, "Oh, I'm their third, I'm their
Right.
17th option." But I wasn't in my ego. I was just thinking about the opportunity
Right.
that Temple could possibly give me. I just knew that they played a tough schedule. They played everybody as far as non-conference, and that's all I was thinking about. So as far as to get to the second part of your question, advice to a parent. I actually just gave this advice to a parent, so it's actually perfect. So I said during my college recruitment process, it ended up working out for me, but I didn't go with who wanted me the most.
Okay.
I went where I thought the best opportunity was for me to, like, if I play good at Temple, I'll be good.
Right.
Like, I'll be all right. That's what I was thinking. And I didn't consult with anybody. Like, I just was like, they offered literally, like, I committed like 3 days later on Temple, Broad Street, play versus Duke.
It was a no-brainer.
That was it for me. That's all I needed to hear. But if I could do it again, I would go to Temple.
Right.
But if I could do it again, I would go where who wanted me the most. That would be the most important thing to me. Who wants me here? Who has a plan for me? Who's, who cares about my development as a young man and about it as a player? So I would go with who wants me the most. There's a balance between who wants me the most and the higher the level, I would say.
If you had to describe your college career in one word, what would it be?
Resilient.
Yeah. So just summarize your 4 years at Temple.
Yep. So my freshman year, I'm going there. Like I said, I was the 17th option.
You gonna keep saying that
because you gotta remind them.
I was the 17th option, class of 2009. I ended up going there my freshman year. Didn't play at all. Only stepped on the court in 5 games. Funny story about that. Coach Dunphy actually said that they wanted to redshirt me.
Right.
My freshman year. Like the assistant was like, he's not going to play, so let's redshirt him. Coach Dunphy, he actually verified this story. He was like, we don't want him. We don't know if we want him for 4 years, let alone if we want him for 5 years.
Right.
So we're not going to redshirt him. Like, let's just get this process going. Like freshman year, like we'll see what happens.
This man, honestly, up there.
He was like, yeah, brutal honesty, for real. So my freshman year, I only played in 5 games. Going to my sophomore year, I still was like, started that season as like 9th, 10th man in the rotation. And like maybe like 4 or 5 games in, I was playing like 10 minutes a game, 12 minutes a game. But maybe like 4 or 5 games in, I probably like that 4th or 5th game, I had like a 12-point, 13-point game in like 13 minutes or something like that. So from that point on, I was like the 6th man for the my whole sophomore year, and I ended up being Atlantic 10's 6th man of the year, coming off the bench and playing a lot of minutes and helping the team a lot. And then every year my role just increased. My junior year I started, averaged like 17 points a game, 2nd team All Atlantic 10. I probably should have been 1st team even as a junior.
And then who was in front of you?
I know my teammate was 1st team, Ramon Moore. I'm not sure who else was on the 1st team. I'm not sure who else. Yeah, I'm not sure. I just know that when the regular season was over, I was like, damn, I'm averaging 17, playing well.
Right.
I know I should be 1st team all conference. And I know I wasn't, and I didn't like that at the time. So then my senior year, I was 1st team All Atlantic 10, leading scorer in Atlantic 10, Big 5 player of the year.
A-10 player.
A-10 player of the year. I won everything my senior year. So to start as a freshman, to not play at all, to them not knowing if they wanted to even have me for 4 years, let alone 5, to end up being the best player in the conference as a senior. That's why I use the word resilient, because just stuck with it.
The 17th option.
The 17th option is crazy. What would you say was your proudest moment at Temple?
My proudest moment at Temple?
Outside of y'all beating Duke.
Right. Proudest moment. Proudest moment would just be, I would have to say that senior year, just becoming Atlantic 10 player of the year. I think I was the last one before me was like Aaron McKee in like 1940. Damn.
He just made cuz like 90 years old.
1994, 1995 or something like that. The last one before me. So for me to come and like I said, start the way I started there, and to end up being the best player in the entire conference. That was a pretty proud moment for me.
That's lit.
Now, talk to me a little bit about the transition, man. You know, you come from being flaming hot, leaving Temple, you know, and the transition of trying to become a professional basketball player.
Yeah, so I jumped right into it. I can speak about a regret right now. After my last college game, I just didn't go back to campus. I was on pace to graduate, and what really happened is I wanted to go to Las Vegas to start training for pre-draft.
Right.
And the head of my department at Temple, I was a social work major. She wasn't trying to work with me. Like she wasn't giving me the option to finish my classes online.
Right.
Or just come back for your final exam. She was kind of like going against me and what I was trying to pursue my dream. And the way I handled that was poorly.
Right.
At the time, I was like, "Oh, she's not trying to work with me. Like, all right, I'm out." Like,
That's
like,
the
I tried. I wanted to do it. She was giving me some resistance, and I was just like, "I'm out." So I wasn't there for like my Big 5 Player of the Year banquet or any of that. I was in Vegas training for the draft. So actually now I'm taking classes now at Temple, online class. I'm going to graduate in the spring. But yeah, that's just 10 years later.
Right.
But anyway, that transition was cool, man. It was basketball from being a student athlete to being a professional athlete is a huge shift. I mean, all I have to worry about is being a basketball player. All I have to worry about is how to become the best basketball player. I don't have to worry about class. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So it was cool.
You was overseas for a while. What's your favorite country to play in that you played in over there?
My favorite country to play in would have to be Israel. I was in Israel for like 4 or 5 years. Super dope place, great weather. I always explain it to people like it's like New York City or like a Miami beach type. Like it's like New York City with a beach.
Yeah,
so it's like you get the city.
Crazy.
If you're in Tel Aviv, you get like the city life, but you got beach and you get nice weather all year round for the most part.
How's the food? You know, I'm a big guy.
Right. No, food is great, man. Food is it's similar to here. You can get anything you want here, you can get there. But they got like I learned a lot, like Mediterranean dishes like hummus and falafel and things like that. Expanding my palate a little bit out there.
You played with a lot of American players out there, or?
Yeah, so depending on where you at, you usually like if you're somewhere in Europe, you got like 4 to 5 American players, which you typically. If you're in like Asia, you might only got 2. Like I was in China for a year, and it was just me and one other American.
Is that tough on you mentally, or is it like not a piece of home with you, or?
Yeah, I mean, you mean as far as like not having American teammates or just being over there?
Yeah.
I mean, you get those 4 or 5 that you got over there with you. Those are your guys. Like that's how you build good bonds over there. Just because you're millions of miles away from home and you only 4 people in a radius that speak English. So of course you're going to bond. You're going to.
The challenges of playing basketball with somebody that don't speak English. Please talk about it.
Right. So one thing about basketball, and everybody says it, but it's true. Basketball is a universal language.
Okay.
So the corner, get to the corner, pick and roll. So it's not like too many. It's not hard as far as basketball on the court. It's super easy because it's like.
So is it more like just signaling, like a person?
I mean, you said they understand English.
Oh, okay.
They watch NBA. They watch like they.
So they got some parts of the basic.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And if you just say pick and roll, like
right,
they know what pick and roll is. So it's easy as far as on the court. Now off the court is a different challenge. That's getting in a taxi cab and trying to tell somebody that you want to get to the gym and you don't know how to say the gym and stuff like that, or trying to order your food and nobody speaking English. Now that's harder, but basketball was never a problem.
What would you say was your favorite pro moment?
Favorite pro moment?
You got accolades too.
All right. Favorite pro moment? I would have to say my it was either my first or second year in Israel. I was on a team called Apol Elat. It was like a mid-level team over there, not one of the higher teams, not one of the lower teams. Just a mid-level team. And the highest team over there, the biggest budget, like I don't know, their budget is crazy. They got like an NBA budget. Name is Maccabi Tel Aviv. That's a team that Pargo played for. They always have a lot of NBA guys. Amari played for Jerusalem. They always got a lot of high-profile guys because they got the biggest budget. So I don't know. I forget if it was my first year or my second year at Israel, but we had a playoff series versus them, and we lost our first. It was the best out of 5. We lost our first 2 games. So literally all my bags was packed. I was kind of excited. I'm like, cool. We ran into Maccabi, power, super budget. I'm like, all right, we had a good season. Cool. I'm packed. Literally packed all my stuff, and we end up beating them 3 games in a row. And knocking them out the playoffs. So I ended up staying for another round of playoffs. We actually ended up going to the championship that year and losing in the championship. But yeah, that was a cool experience just because it was like an underdog story. They were supposed to sweep us, and we ended up beating them 3 times in a row.
Round down 3-1.
Definitely came back. Talk a little bit about like how you acquire like these overseas contracts and like the process of agent and like was that tough on you?
It was tough. It was tough. So I'll give some advice. So how I got my first agent, I wouldn't do it the same way again. Like I literally just picked my first agent because of who he represented. He worked for a company at this time. It was called ASM, one of the biggest companies in the NBA at the time. They end up like folding or something because some like scandal or something like that. But it was like Kyle Lowry, Kevin Garnett, ton of people. ASM. I forget what the shit even stand for. ASM. But anyway, so he had them, and well, he worked for that company. So I was like, oh, he works for them,
Right.
and it was a big company. And they were going to send me to Vegas to work out pre-draft, and they were going to cover the expenses. But if I could do it again, like I said, my first agent, I would go with who wants me the most, who's going to make it all about me. Whether that's a big agency or a small agency, but their focus is on me and how I'm going to become a high-level pro. So that's how I got my first agent. I think he just reached out to me. But yeah, I ended up having like 5 agents just because. Well, I'll tell another story. So how you get jobs overseas? Yeah. So you have an American agent and you have an overseas agent. What the American agent is doing is he's calling the overseas agent and seeing if because he has the relationships with the teams overseas. So overseas agent will find you a job, and the American agent would just break bread with the overseas agent on their commission.
Right. That's it. Split it.
Right. So he's just using the overseas agent. So once I realized that, I was like, I don't really need, if I'm playing overseas, I don't really need an American agent.
Right.
I can just get an agent that's overseas who already has relationships with the teams. And I was able to work out some good deals with agents over there, whereas though I could get that commission that
cut the middleman.
That the American agent would have got.
Right.
So that's why I said I had like 5, 6 agents, because I was working with different agents overseas. So that's how I was doing it at the time.
The network, bro.
Yeah.
Definitely. How hard was it to retire?
It was super hard. It was hard and easy. So the hard part was it was hard and easy. The hard part was realizing that something that I've been doing my whole life, the only thing I've ever done seriously and like really invested hundreds of hours on, is that I was gonna be done doing that. So that was like a culture shock for sure. Like I was like, damn, like, if you say you're done, and you're never gonna like do this again. Like so. That was the hard part, but the easy part was just having my daughter and knowing that I didn't want to have to leave my daughter and go overseas for 10 months or have to bring them over there for a month or something like that and have this FaceTime relationship with my daughter. And so I just outweighed the positives and negatives. And, I didn't really get into my career, but I had a few injuries. So my body was, it was tough. I was playing well, but I had to go through a lot just as far as being physically ready to perform.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's not keeping it 100. He know he can still go out there and give him 30.
No, in fact, I was playing well. Like when I was in Romania, so I'll tell this story how I was in Romania. My daughter was supposed to be born. My daughter was born March 23rd.
Right.
So they were giving me a week to come home. I was in Romania playing professionally. I was playing well. like I said, though, my body was tough. Like I had to really like warm up 35 minutes just to get on the practice court and be like 75%, just to get my body warmed up to be 87%, and that was it. I didn't get to 100. I was done.
You got the numbers there.
I was done getting to 100%. But I was playing well, so they gave me that week to come home for my daughter to be born. My daughter was born. I had like 4 days left before I was supposed to go back. 4 days was up. I'm like, I'm not going back over there. I wasn't thinking I was retiring, but I'm like, I'm not going back over there. Like, I'm just going to chalk the rest of the season and come back next year. So they were mad. They were calling my phone, getting ready for playoffs and stuff like that. They called my phone, blowing me up. I'm like, oh, man, like, I'm sorry. I'm apologizing to them and stuff like that. I just didn't go back. And then maybe like 3 weeks later, I just was like, you know what? I'm not going back nowhere. It's over. So it was just a quick decision like that. And yeah, I've been in daddy mode and coach mode ever since.
That's lit.
That's a dope story.
No, that's hard.
You know, just talk to me the difference between like Leaf the pro ball player and Leaf the dad. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So the pro ball player Leaf is super focused on being a pro ball player. Like, what's about to make me? How can I be a better basketball player? What do I got coming up? Do I got who we about to play? Stuff like that. Like really thinking about the game. As far as dad Leaf, man, I'm just super laid back, just super grateful all the time just to be holding my daughter and having my daughter. It's a more laid back and just more, even though ball player Leaf is pretty laid back as well. But this dad Leaf is like, man, like it's hard to mess up my day as long as my daughter is cool and everything is cool at home.
That's just it. What you think has been the most challenging part of being a dad?
The most challenging part, so I'm about 6 months in. The most challenging part, it would have to be just figuring out the relationship dynamic with the mother and child, and just making sure that she's getting proper breaks and really considering her everything that she went through. First of all, for the 9 months carrying the baby, and then everything that she's going with post the baby. So just making sure that you're being gentle with her, and giving her creating the best space for her to raise our child in the best space possible. Right. So, not you.
Can we get like 5 new dad tips out of you?
New dad tips? Am I qualified?
Listen, you're a little fresh on the job than me. My daughter, what is she, like 15 months now?
Yeah.
Something like that. But my son 4, so.
Yeah, my oldest 13.
Listen, once they hear, you can just start.
Yeah.
Right. New dad tips. Well, yeah, that first one can be.
That first one was a big one. You can take that, paying attention to the mom, being aware of her needs.
Yep. Definitely be aware of the mom. And the second one, I would just say second one, share those responsibilities. Don't overexert what she's doing. Like take a load off of her a little bit. That third one, just hold your baby as much as you can, because they get big. We all know they get big. So I'm holding my baby and kissing on my baby's forehead and cheeks, and just as much as I can, like that's what I'm at the crib doing. She's laying on my chest.
You got that bonding time.
Yeah, so I'm getting plenty of that. Fourth, I would just say, take shifts at night for sleep. Like I said, take a load off the girl. Don't make sure she got to get up every night, every day in the middle of the night with a baby. Some nights
you hearing Dre? He got up in the middle of the night, bro.
Some nights you do it. Not every night, but take a load off. And then the last one, I'll just say, they always watching. I can tell that already. They always watching. So just be the best you. Your child they always watching. They're learning from you every day. Even at this age, she's learning from you. She's smiling. She's laughing. So, yeah, they always watching.
That's a fact. So what's your most enjoyable part? That, just spending the time?
Yeah, the most enjoyable part is that I'm just sitting on the couch. She's sitting on my chest. She's beating my face up, scratching my face. That's the best part to me. Just that playful energy. She's just laughing and she's just happy. Like she wake up happy, and that just makes me happy.
You know, our show is really based upon like how do we juggle things as dads, career, fatherhood, sometimes relationship, marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about like how you juggling dad, coaching, Marathon Sport, podcasting. You know what I mean, coaching.
All right. So, I definitely have to give a shout out to the lady in my life, because she makes it easy for me. She allows me to leave and go coach for 4 or 5 hours out of the day sometimes. And she know I'm in the beginning of the process of coaching, so like I really want to be outside, like as far as like going to events, like high school basketball tournaments and college practices and art practices. So like it's not a space that I'm in where I just feel like I need to be in the house and just go to Westchester. Where it's like I'm in like a rookie year stage of my career, my new career. So she's definitely super understanding of that, and she's allowing me to chase my new dream, my new passion. So that's a big part of it. And yeah, man, just communicating and just being on the same page.
You think it's easier for her to understand because like her lifestyle, like how she's a creative and stuff like that. You think it makes it easier like for y'all to mesh and for her to have that balance with you?
Yep. So I always wondered too. Like she works from home, so if she didn't work from home and was able to do her thing from home, it would make everything different. So the fact that she works from home, it helps a lot. But yeah, man, she understands what it means to chase your dream and to really want to do something. So the fact that she's actively pursuing her passion and doing what she loves to do makes it easy for her to understand where I'm at right now and what I want to do.
Right, sure. Last before we get out of that, do you think it's like how hard is it for y'all, like, because y'all both kind of high profile, quote unquote, like to live a private life? Because y'all, I think y'all do a good job at like being private and like exposing things y'all want to expose. Mm-hmm. Like, do you find it challenging?
I don't, and I don't think she does either because we're naturally reserved people. Okay. Naturally, like, I don't even like to say private. It's just like a lot of stuff ain't public.
But it's hard now with social media and all that to like keep people actually like out of your life, and the fact that like y'all are like two people who like are recognizable. Like outside forces can begin to pull your relationship apart, and it's hard when you don't have a name or you're not somebody. Like y'all, I think y'all navigate that space really well.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I think we're both two naturally reserved people. So it hasn't been hard for us. We just been doing it for like 3 years now, and it hasn't been too hard to just be together.
Right.
True that.
Talk to me a little bit about how did you end up coaching at Westchester University and your transition to like this pseudo like 9-to-5 life now from being an athlete.
Right. And I'll be a quick joke. I'm on my way to work. I ain't never said that before. I ain't said that in 30 years. So I always call my mom, my brothers, like, well, yeah, I'm on my way to work. They start cracking up from work. I'm like, what? You ain't way to work. But yeah, so how I got the Westchester job. So my initial plan was my brother is an assistant coach at West Catholic High School. And my initial plan was, while I finish up my degree at Temple, I was just going to go down West Catholic and like, be an assistant coach down there, just help out, be around the game while I finished up my degree. So that was my initial plan. So I was actually at a high school event coaching with my brother, and Ben K was there, who we talked about earlier, well, off camera.
Right.
And he saw me coaching my brother. He's like, what's your plan? I'm like, I'm finishing up my degree at Temple, because you can't be a full-time assistant coach or head coach or anything Division I without a bachelor's degree. So I was like, my plan is to finish up my bachelor's degree. While I'm doing that, I'm going to be down at West Catholic coaching with my brother. And he was like, man, if you're going to coach down at West Catholic, we might got an opportunity available for you at Westchester. And, the time you were planning on spending at West Catholic would be a lot more beneficial to you if you did it on Westchester campus and under our umbrella. So once he said it, I was like, like that just makes sense, right? It makes sense. So Westchester not far from me. I'm in the King of Prussia area. Westchester like 20 minutes away. So it was that was sweet, and it's been that since then, since like June, and I've been going up there, man. I've been like I said, I feel like I'm in my rookie year, so like it's like fresh, it's new. I'm having different conversations. People are approaching me different. Like it's just different. Like I'm chasing something different.
Something like that. Little follow up, bro.
Oh, go ahead, bro.
That's my people's up there.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
I want to ask you about how has Coach Blair been and how has athletics been at Westchester?
Right. So Coach Blair, man, he's been great. He's been great. I want to say this is like his 14th year coaching at Westchester. Right. So he has a ton of experience, ton of knowledge. And my main thing for this year is to really just learn. So I'm literally I go up there 4 or 5 days a week. Right now, 4 days a week, because it's still preseason for us. But I go up there 4 days a week, and I just sit in the office. I just listen to them. I ask questions when I feel like it's applicable. I give input when I feel like it's applicable. But for the most part, I'm just listening and watching and learning, because that's the stage I'm at. I'm not going to act like I know everything as a coach. I was a good player, but that doesn't mean I'm just walking and just know more than somebody who's been coaching at a high level for 15 years, so or longer than that. But so I'm just like a sponge right now down there, just learning from him and just helping him whatever he needs.
Do you feel like you approach coaching different than you approach playing, or you feel like you approach it like the same?
I feel like I'm approaching it the same. Like I said, I keep using this phrase even with my friends. It's funny, like I'm in my rookie year, so it's like nobody knows what kind of coach you are. Nobody knows what kind of coach you're going to be. Same way nobody knew what kind of player you were. Nobody knew what kind of player you were going to be. So I'm looking to approach it the same way, just humble, learning, watching, and just grow gradually. And I'm actually excited because if you could go back to your rookie year playing basketball, I'm talking about rookie like 6 years old, 7 years old, and you can really be conscious of what you're doing and how you're approaching things. I'm 31 now, so I get to really enjoy it and really understand what's going on.
Do you find like things you can do athletically or physically when you coach it, like a kid may not do it like how you would do it? Like, do you find that is that like a thing? Because I remember when I was coaching offensive line in football, like, hey, I've been better than you. I had better flexion than you have, and you're just a high school kid or a college kid. It's like, you don't move like me, but that don't mean you move bad. Like that don't mean you're not doing the job, right? Right. So do you run into that?
Definitely. So my quick draw. My brother, he has an AAU team called Pro Youth Basketball, right? So one of the years I was hurt, I coached my brother's AAU team. He coached the 17s, and I was coaching, I think, 15s. So this is my first time ever coaching. I'm like, I'm home, I'm injured. Right. I don't even know if I want to coach that. I'm still actively playing professionally. So anyway, I coach these kids 15 and under. I'm miserable. So I'm calling. I talked to Aaron McKay. Was one guy I talked to. I bumped into him. He was watching his son play at right there actually at the convention center. Yeah. And I was like, he's like, how you feel about it? Like, what's going on with it? He was like, I was like, man, I don't like this. Man, I ain't gonna be able to be no coach. He was like, no, trust me. Like, you're gonna be a good coach. He said, you just need good players. Like, you gotta coach good players. Like, right. Nobody wants to coach not good players like that. You really have to. No pro basketball player who comes from playing at a high level wants to coach.
It's like too tedious.
Yeah. So he was like, no, trust me, you're gonna be all right. You just need good players. Like, you need to be around talent. And then, so that hit me. Okay, like it'd probably be different if I was working with a higher level player. And then he's not the last person to say that to me. Like, coaches, that's what they say. They say, I'm making calls to all my old assistant coaches and things like that. Like, yeah, I'm getting into coaching now. What you got for me? Like 80% of them said, coach good players, get good players. Right. that'll make life a lot better for you.
True that. What you think is the most important life lesson like you want to teach your students outside of like basketball?
Most important, I would say just respect. Just respect life. Respect people. Respect people's time. Respect. Because lack of respect and too much ego, it'll put you in some situations that you probably wasn't supposed to be in. If you'd have just been just respectful of yourself, just respect. That's something I learned a lot from Coach Duff. Respect, because I was a disrespectful kid. I came late to stuff. I wasn't respectful to people's time. I didn't respect people's what's it called? I didn't respect what people were saying to me. I thought I knew everything. So I'm like flagging grown people as a 17-year-old. Got you. So that wasn't the way. Just be respectful. Just you can have your own thoughts, you can have your own opinions, but at the end of the day, just be respectful.
How often do you have to like cook a player and practice to remind them like who you is?
So I haven't got to that point yet. I haven't got to that point. It's funny because I want to say maybe like only like 10% of our Westchester team, 15% of our Westchester team, really know who I was as a basketball player. I don't talk about it. Coach, he drops a nugget every now and then, like he actually played, but I don't walk around like they got Google and they got YouTube, and if they want to talk to me and really get into it, I haven't really got there yet. It's not what I lead with. But I am staying in shape, and that was some other advice I got from an assistant coach I had when I was at Temple named Coach Langle. Yeah. He's a head coach at Colgate University. He told me, man, stay in shape, because the longer you can cook your players, right, and the longer you can get out there and demonstrate what you're trying to do, the longer they'll respect you, and they'll look at you in a different light when you can actually still cook them. So,
right.
Yeah,
because it's different versus like I'm telling you to do something and I can't do it. Versus like you actually could do it. So like I could teach it in a different way. It's a different respect. Like you got a different respect for somebody who did it at a high level. Right. And you do like some random person like, well, if you do this, you're gonna get this result. Like you're like, I really even know that. They're gonna trust you more because you actually did it and been through it.
And football is bad because like I feel like there'd be a lot of big guys. They like real out of shape, but they be coaching like skill positions. Right. It's like Coach Steve was coaching running backs, quarterbacks, receivers, and Coach Steve like 400 pounds. Yeah. There's no way you can stick this route and sit in the middle of the zone. That's not what you're gonna be out here wide awake, demonstrating if people doing that. So like even like Andy Reid. Like Andy Reid coached in Philly forever for Eagles, right? Right. Andy, you're not running those shallow drags. Like you're just not doing it. But like that's one of the things I talk about with Coach Kent. Coach Kent like lost all his weight. He's like, I can demonstrate, I can move, and I feel better. It's a different level of respect. I think that should come a part of when you get the job. Like you gotta keep your fitness set up.
Right. No, that's true. It's definitely different.
Retired rep, man. Let's get into how you started the podcast.
For sure. So retired rep. Funny story, man. My high school point guard Russell Graham, right? We put together a team for the Philadelphia Summer League, the Brotherly Love Program. So I got a team in there, and I'm retired. I'm fully retired. I'm like, I'm not playing. Like I'm just gonna coach. I'm gonna coach the team in the pro-am. So I'm putting a roster together. I'm super competitive. Talking to him on the phone, like, yeah, I'm not just trying to put any kind of roster together. Like, it's people who are gonna be down there. Like, we want to compete. Right. I'm talking from a coach standpoint, though, from a GM standpoint. So I'm like, damn, man, we missing like a couple pieces. He's like, bro, do you understand if you just say your name with our roster, that our roster is just as good as any roster that you didn't talk about? Like, just play. Like, I'm like, nah, bro, I'm done. Like, I don't want to get the signals twisted between people thinking I'm still playing and no, I retired and I'm coaching. So I don't want to get nobody confused about what's going on. He's like, man, you thinking too deep about it. Come out here, get some rec with us, bro. Get some sweat and come hoop. Like you just retired like 2 months ago. Not even. So anyway, I go out there that first game. This was literally the day of the game. We was on the phone. I wasn't going to play, but sitting on the couch eating a Five Guys burger. While I'm on the phone with him, Five Guys shake.
Sounding out of shape.
Yeah, on the couch, shake, literally, whole joint. Five Guys burger, shake, and fries. On the couch talking to him, putting the roster together. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play. He taught me to play, and I went out there, stunk it up. Terrible. First game, I had like 4 points, falling all over the ground, no legs under me. I cursing him out after the game, like, bro, I knew I shouldn't have played, bro. You got me out here looking crazy. So I had two decisions. It was like, all right, go back to how I felt originally. Like, I'm about to just coach. But after how bad I played, how I stunk it up,
you gotta redeem yourself.
I'm like, no way I'm about to come up here next week coaching after I just stunk it
They're
up.
gonna be talking crazy.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, he's they're gonna be like, oh, he's ducking right. Oh, he played last week but not this week. Oh, he picking what games he want to play in. I'm like, no. So I'm stuck. I was literally had my back to the wall. I had to. I'm like, so I started working out. I'm like, I'm playing. So like, just retire right. But when I was playing, I came back. I played well. I got better literally every week just because I was in the gym. And my motto, my hashtag for the whole like people, social media area, everybody was posting my highlights and tagging me in videos that they was making at the games and stuff like that. And when I would repost something, I would just put retire right. Like I just wanted people to know that this was retire right. This wasn't. Right. I wanted to really make a distinction because first of all, I want people to know I am retired. I'm not going back to play. I got agents in my inbox right now, Facebook, Instagram. I'm not going back to play professionally ever again. So that was the main thing. I wanted to make that distinction. And then the second thing was I just wanted to use it as motivation for me because I needed it. I just was on the couch eating Five Guys and a milkshake. And then let other people use it as motivation too, who might have been in the same situation as me, who just needed some fuel to get back out there or to do something else or whatever. Just get off the couch.
Yeah, remember, I think that's during that phase. Remember I sent you one of the clips on the gram. You had fake like you was about to go baseline, threw it to the 3-point line, went turn, caught, pulled up. I'm like, oh, that's a tough move. Like
the slow move.
Yeah, the slow move. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. And you talking about retiring that job? I'm like, yo, he ain't done.
Yeah. No, I like the pace of your game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some people play fast and
like out of control.
Out of control, but if you got good pace, you in control and you fast. But like I can see the Paul Pierce in you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Ain't nobody speeding you up. You can press me if you want, but I can still get to my spots and get a good shot off. Like I like your game.
Right.
Talking about retired rec though.
What's your mission for the pod?
The mission for the pod is to really just inspire and like motivate. Like I just said, get people off the couch.
Right.
And then also like retiring is not easy as far as the mental aspect of it. Like I said, I've been playing basketball since I was 6.
Right.
So I was before that. That's all I ever knew. So it's not easy to just stop doing that and then think you just about to transition and like your whole identity. A lot of people's whole identity is wrapped up into the athlete that they were. So just even shedding that is tough because you're walking around. Like I could say you retired, you just automatically you could just drop just because like I'm not playing basketball anymore. So people are not looking at me like I'm this basketball player, this bucket getter. They looking at me like he's regular. He's one of us, or he's like whatever. Like you don't got that whole aura with you that you had when you were active, and they don't have to be that way because you're still that person. Just gotta, find a different path. But the mission for it is really just to educate too. Like I'm bringing people on the podcast that I can learn from, because I don't know everything. So I want to know why you retired. I want to know the thought process you was thinking when you retired. I want to know the tough patches that you had when you were transitioning from retirement into whatever you're doing now. And I know if I want to know it, if I want to learn from it, a lot of other athletes can learn from just that space of retirement, which is scary to a lot of athletes. The athletes don't even like talking about retirement because like what? You be 25, 26, you talking about retirement, like you take it offensive.
Right.
No, bro, you're gonna have to retire.
Right.
You're gonna have to transition into something else.
So you think it's more like therapeutic?
Yeah, it's definitely therapy because I get to talk. It's not like I'm talking all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm not the I want to get better at it actually. I'm not I got something on my mind talk, and then get my shit off to the world. That's just not me naturally. But it's helping me. It's helping me talk. It's helping me listen. I'm learning from people's experiences, and other people are learning from people's experiences too. So it's been dope.
Do you have a favorite episode or guest so far?
So far, I would have to say my first guest. My first guest was Scoop Jardine, and he's somebody who I really admired as a kid. Like literally, admired as a basketball player. Like literally, like watched him mannerisms, like try to run because that's how in tune I was with watching basketball. He was one of the guys I watched. He had that slow, crafty, hop to his game. Wasn't going too fast. So I was a huge fan of his as a kid, and to have him be my first guest on my podcast was pretty cool for me.
That's dope.
Did you run into anything unexpected in the podcasting space that you didn't see that?
Yeah. Shoot. First episode, so we recording off an iPhone. You know, y'all got all these nice cameras in here. You know, y'all got 3-4 cameras in here. So we on the iPhone, and first episode, man, me and Scoop interview had to be like, we was just talking for like at least 2 hours. iPhone and been cut off. Went on iPhone and Ben went on silent. Black. I'm like, well, we got all the audio. We had a lot of video, but we didn't get the whole thing. I'm like, I was sick just because, you know, these moments don't happen. Like, It's just like, it ain't like you're going to bring it. Like, I can bring them back up and we can do it again, but it'll never be like the first one. So that was tough. I was upset at first, but I was like, that was literally my first guest. So I was like, I wasn't tripping.
Man, that's real. We dealt with that a lot. Like, we just, like, you seeing us now at like a professional level, all these episodes and stuff under us, but like, man, we went through like hell with like memory cards, SD cards, not having stuff, having bad audio, having and we recorded like 4 episodes with audio you couldn't even use. Like, it was so distorted. Like, it was just like, we can't even duplicate this.
You talking about paying for studio time
and paying for studio, yeah.
And even with that as a product,
right? That's tough.
And you know, just like you getting into the space, you understand like your first impression is important.
Right.
So like, if I put out some audio that people can't hear, they're never gonna tune into it again. They're never gonna. That's like anybody. Like, if you listen to something for the first time and you can't hear it, you're not gonna turn it on again. Like, we was dealing with a lot of that stuff. So like, it get better. It get better. It get better. You ain't the only one.
That's funny because we had a sports show before this called Into the Boundary, and you've been on the radar since then.
Yeah, I was telling you that off camera.
We were doing like a life after sports type of thing, and similar to what you're doing, like similar to hearing what you want to do. You know, I just play football. You just have you have a bigger space of who you probably could pull from than me.
Right.
I want to make sure you know. Watching you transition into fatherhood, you landing at a good spot to coach, you finishing your degree. I'm proud of you, even though I don't know you personally. I just Kadeem played football at Temple. He knows you, and I've been up on campus. I've been to games, and I just, you know, I admire. You know, I admire how you move. You know what I mean? So
I appreciate that.
Men don't say good things about other men. I want to make sure you're on the right track.
I appreciate that for sure. For sure.
Marathon Sport, bro.
Yeah, Marathon Sport. What inspired that, and what is it?
Yep. So in 2017, I tore my ACL. It was my first time ever being injured. I had never been injured before, so I was in the lowest spot of my life ever. Still, I don't think I've been back that low since that injury. I felt like I was at the height of my career, as far as like how I was playing, how I was moving, how I was approaching the game. And then boom, it was taken away from me, torn ACL. So I'm in a deep depression, just sitting there like, damn, what's next? Like, I don't know. I scroll back on my Instagram and I'm just scrolling. And I'm in Israel. Scroll back on my Instagram. I had a post from when I was playing in China, my first year out. And it was a post I had made while I was in China. I was sitting on the bench as a freshman at Temple. And I was just like, you know, pretty much stay at it. Like, you can be me. Like, I'm in China now playing professionally. I went on to be Lansing Player of the Year. But this picture of me sitting on the bench my freshman year, it's like, I would never thought I would be doing this. And the hashtag was Marathon Mindset.
Right.
So I saw that, I'm like, it kind of inspired me. I'm like, okay, like, Marathon Mindset. You typed that in like 3 years ago, but it wasn't like, you wasn't on it. Like, that's just how I was saying it right there. So when I saw that, it kind of like sparked something in me, just like, all right, like, it's not the first time that you've been down. So it sparked a light in my head to just be like, you know, it sparked my rehab, my therapy, like, get back, like, and be a high level player again. But second, it sparked like my mind to like, you know, like other people are going through this, you know. So it's just a platform I really created to inspire, like, again, like just motivate people to keep pushing through and like resiliency. So I made a sport apparel company behind it, and we did a lot of camps and clinics. And yeah, like my passion is teaching. Like, that's why I'm a coach. My passion is teaching kids and really help mold them. So we was able to put together a lot of camps and clinics and get in front of hundreds of kids and really just use that platform to teach and inspire people to be healthy as well, and wear cool workout clothes and comfortable workout clothes. So it was something new for me, but something that, like, again, I grew with. I just grew. Like, I didn't no expectations, just something I wanted to do, something I was passionate about, and it was my baby, and it's been fun.
Oh, Leaf, man, we want to thank you for coming, doing more than a
Yeah,
dad,
we really
bro.
appreciate you.
No doubt.
You dropped gems at every segment. We're real proud of you. We know you reserved. You gave us energy today. You was on time, even though I couldn't find you for about 15 minutes. Man, we just appreciate you doing it, man.
Yeah,
we wish you have a good season, a good career, good transition.
Good luck in everything. Podcasting, fatherhood. You got a lot of stuff going on.
For sure, man. I appreciate y'all for having me, man. This was dope.
All right, guys. Until next time.
Join the More Than a Dad family by following us on Instagram, subscribing to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to join our Facebook group for daily questions, motivation, dad jokes, and new dad tips. If you enjoy our podcast, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Be sure to like, comment, and share our content with other parents. Last but not least, make sure you check out our new merch. The link is in the bio of our Instagram as well as the description of this YouTube video. We are truly grateful, and thanks for supporting More Than a Dad.
More than a dad. More than a dad.